Hello everyone and welcome back to our blind let's play of Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth. My name is FlightlessBird, this is your story-based gaming channel, and today we try to get to the bottom of this case. Maybe. I'm hoping so, at the very least. Before we begin, I want to give a huge shout out to Bitbox, who welcome to the channel. And he correctly called out who the badger was, and it was none other than the bellboy. I probably forgot about that. Thank you for that. Also, Green River confirms that is indeed true. It's the way he speaks with absolutely. I don't know, I miss that. I miss some things sometimes. I'm glad I have the #1 YouTube community in all of YouTube. Also, thank you to Edgeworth, who, as always, does a really good job at disguising the solutions to a puzzle, because what he does is he'll post one post that has one half of the answer and the other half, and the other post the other half. That way he doesn't reveal it all at once. But I will say, even with only revealing half at a time, I would have never got this. Nope, never would have gotten this. Right here, Lang says, and they told them to make good use of the means to plan this little kidnapping. I had to think about this for a half hour before I understood why this was a thing. Because here's the thing, if they made use of the meanings to plan this little kidnapping, then they would not have needed the stolen costumes. It took me forever to figure out. Like, I'm staring at this answer, trying to understand how these two things work together. And I finally understand it. But I don't, like I said, I don't think I would have ever gotten this. So thank you for that. Really. Y'all are the #1 YouTube community in all of YouTube. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You guys are just, you're so amazing. Really. You guys are just the best. And when I say guys, I mean guys and girls, ladies, neutral, whatever. People. Yeah. Whoever you are, you're amazing. If you're listening to this, you're amazing. If you're the cat on the floor listening to this because your master is playing this in the background, you cat, you're amazing. That's right. And if there's any penguins out there listening as well, you're definitely amazing. That's for sure. Anyway, the kidnapping wasn't planned by just two people alone. God, that would make my day if there were penguins listening to this. Oh, that would just, oh man, I can't tell you. If you work in an aquarium and you play this in the background while you're working, let me know. That would just make my day. And what kind of proof do you have of that? Quite simply, there were 3 kidnappers. 3? Ah, look at the sweat. Oh, that was great. That was so subtle, but was there. 4 costumes were stolen from the Wild Wild West area's back room. We found one of them in the kidnapper's hideout. But as for the other 3, we can assume they were being worn by 3 different people. We also found a set of 3 cups and 3 folding chairs that were used in the hideout. It's all clearly points to a 3-man group. And I believe this 3rd person is the real mastermind behind the kidnapping. Oh, who is this mastermind? Oh, look at him sweat. Oh, that's not subtle at all now. That is full leakage. I present to you the brains behind the kidnapping. Oh my God, do I have to do this? Do I actually have to do this? All right, well, I'm gonna go with what my gut says. And y'all know what my gut is because I've been very vocal about this theory. Time to see if I'm right. Hold back. No. Lance Amano. Oh! Lance Amano! Oh, that was great sequence there. Yes, this abduction was in fact schemed by Lance himself. recall what he said when he appeared before us. Oh, the music's picking up. This is great. Did you see the faces? Oh, I'm sorry. That's Lang, not Ernest. Or Lance, sorry. I keep confusing them. Did you see the faces of the kidnappers? Oh, that's right. That's right. That's it. He says that one of them's a female. There's no way you would know that it's a female because they were all wearing costumes. Oh! Oh, I understand. No, I didn't see the faces, but two. One was a woman. However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said. But I know I only saw 2 people. This guy was being held hostage. It's possible he couldn't see all 3 of them. Yes. About when you were being held, I had my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you're being held captive? I really don't remember much anymore, honest. But if I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you? It's on! Let's do this! Lance's testimony. I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded the entire time. But the kidnappers suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. Through the underground passageway, I presume. Oh, the dots. Are you okay? Sorry, I really don't want to recall that horrible ordeal, but now you believe me, right? No, not quite yet. Ah! How can you not? Why do you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, that was Lance saying that, not Lang. I saw him, like, moving his mouth or something. Because he's a prosecutor, and because we're all like that. I'll have you know, Agent Lang, a prosecutor's eyes are for discerning the truth. And should they be interpreted to be cruel at times, then so be it. There is a sticking point in Lance's testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push a little. Lance's testimony, rebuttal. I was kidnapped yesterday morning. Can you tell us about when you were abducted in a little more detail? It was a strange morning. I felt like I was right in the middle of a great calm. And where were you when you experienced this calm? Our family garden, of course. Where else could it have been? Well, excuse me for asking. This child is more princess than prince. I was out taking a walk to shake off the morning blah. Then, out of the blue, someone from behind claps a hand over my mouth. You didn't see your attacker. They must have used some drug to knock me out. Because before I knew it, I was off in La La Land again. When I woke up, I was in the kidnappers' hideout already, all tied up. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded the entire time. By that room, you mean the room in the kidnappers' hideout, correct? Yes, but I was blindfolded the whole time, so I didn't know that until I made my escape. Then you were in the same room as your kidnappers. They spoke in hushed tones, but I could catch bits of their conversation. It was definitely 2 people, and one of them was definitely a woman. I was so scared. I could tell they were nearby, so I didn't dare make a move. But the kidnappers suddenly disappeared around the time I heard the rain falling outside. The kidnappers disappeared. The room fell into a sudden silence. I had been left behind like an unwanted mutt. And what do you mean by an unwanted mutt? What a pointless question. It's not like he's going to tell you anything new, you know. It's a poetic simile. You should learn how to use them, too. You may look refined on the outside, but it's no good if you're not refined on the inside as well. What's up with that hair blowing there? My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. Then those cuffs on your wrist. I suppose you were still cuffed in that case. I am well aware of how I am chained to reality. I couldn't find the key, so I'm afraid I'm stuck like this. Even though I escaped from that jail cell, I will forever be a prisoner. Wow, not melodramatic at all, is he? I made my escape and ran from that room as fast as I could. How did you manage to escape? I wanted to get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked. Which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape. I remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I must let it go unexamined. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I caught it too. This right here, the door was never locked. Remember, it had this sword in it. It wasn't locked. The door leading outside was locked tight, so I had to use the underground passageway. By underground passageway, you mean the one the staff uses to travel unnoticed. I suppose that's what it's for. But I didn't run into any staff members on my way out. And once I was up top, I was busy trying to find a member of the police. And that is when you found us congregated at the stadium, I suppose. Let me ask you then, how did you get a hold of the key to the underground door? That was easy. It was hanging right there in the room on the wall. I do recall a key hanging on the wall right beside the table. Boy, does that bring back memories of our situation, how we made our escape. Indeed. And although the door on the floor of our room led to an underground room, the door in the floor of the room next door had a secret passageway. A secret passageway under a theme park? Oh, that just sounds like so much fun. I wonder, is there something about the way Lance made his escape? Alright, let's go for it. We know what we want to do. The sword. You say that the door leaning out was locked, but was it really? Oh, wow. That was interesting. We're talking about that room behind the saloon front, right? Look, I heard that it took quite a few men to get that thing open, right, Sheena? Yes, that's correct. Then take a look at this. What is that? A sword? It's not an especially reliable one if it's broken like that. Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that the door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Huh? Lance, even though your hands were cuffed together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you not just simply remove the sword and escape? Why didn't I? I was disoriented. Yes, that's it. I didn't notice it. As if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim. But you did not, in fact, possess a key to the door. That is why you used a pop sword to improvise and create a prison of your very own. You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way. And what would that be? A motive. What else? Do you honestly think that a bright pupil like him would hatch up a completely pointless scheme such as kidnapping himself? This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit the crime. This right here. I don't know. I mean, I really feel like... Okay, hear me out on this. I know this says loan company. But where are your eyes diverted to? This letter. And what do you think? It's a love letter. If you didn't play the original game, and you don't know what Tender Lender is, and you don't know who Viola is, would you have figured this part out? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know who Viola is, I know she's a psychopath, and I know what Tender Lender is. So therefore, that's why I came to that conclusion. But it does say down here, the sender is a Tender Lender loan company, and it doesn't actually reference the letter. So I guess that's a way of them, you know, solving that problem. To put it simply, Lance has a very urgent need for money. This is hardly your typical love letter. It is, in fact, a collections bill. It appears our upstanding boy has accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Ugh! Looks like it's hard being the son of a rich man, too. It must be rough when you had to resort to stealing from your old man, huh? Alright, I give up. I abducted myself. Lance! It's over, Lolly. In this life, we really are bound to our fates after all. All I wanted was to go with you to a new town, somewhere where no one would know us. I wanted us to be well off with that $1 million, but now that dream is over. Oh, Lance! Then you are giving yourself up. Yes, I have planned to run away from this world with my Lolly. Oliver even helped us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back. He turned on you. Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money. Well, that's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under my control. We left him inside that room as Lolly and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left first in the Blue Badger costume. That would mean the person Officer Meekin saw was Mrs. Potts. But right then, the old man just had to wake up. I was careless and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then, Oliver put on a Bad Badger costume, took the suitcase with $1 million and ran. I contacted Lolly right away and warned her that he had a gun. They had no idea that they were related, so I thought that it could only end badly. I still don't believe it! That person was not my father! Because if he was, I just killed my own father! Oh boy. Lolly, then it really was you? Was it? What? Oh, this isn't over yet. Chain of events. That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium, there was a Bad Badger pulling the suitcase with the $1 million in it. But that badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot. The other person crumpled to the ground, and I ran scared for my life. I think the big picture is finally coming into focus, don't you? Lolly, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you. So, Miss Pops, she shot her own dad without even knowing who he really was? If what she says is true. Are you saying she's lying? But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve? You would be surprised how often people lie without realizing it themselves, Kay. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? What I mean is, listen very carefully to a confession once more and you'll see. That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium... Please calm down and let's slowly talk through this. But all you had to do is simply tell us what happened at the stadium. Leave it to us to search out the truth. Can you do that for me? Oh, the exclamated dots. Alright, so at the stadium, there was a bad badger pulling the suitcase with the 1 million in it. That was the ransom money, wasn't it? Yes, that's how I was able to identify Mr. Deacon almost immediately. It was all thanks to what Lance told me. And what did he tell you? Well, he called me on my cell phone and told me that Mr. Deacon had betrayed us and had run off with the ransom money. And about how he had a gun. But that badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. Were you able to clearly see the gun? Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Oh, Father, why would you try to shoot me? Do you really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Miss Edgeworth? I don't know. I don't want to believe it myself. But it's true. My father's left arm was raised with a gun in it. Pointed straight at me. I'm about to die, I thought. Miss Pops. Huh? Please calm down and take a deep breath. And then, would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time? Yes, of course. But that badger pointed the gun in his left hand at me, aiming to shoot me. I remember something. I'm not gonna show this now, but I remember something. This right here. Murder notes. I remember seeing this. And the reason I remember seeing this, because I remember the first Ace Attorney game. I didn't know something because I overlooked an adjective. And I don't think I overlooked this adjective. Where was it? I know I saw this somewhere. I know I saw it somewhere. Here. Dominant hand right. He wouldn't have pointed his left hand at her. He would have used the right. Because that's not his dominant hand. And you felt that your life was in danger, correct? Yes, I'm about to die, I thought. So. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. You shot Mr. Deacon. Oh, the dots! Miss Pops. Oh, the dots! Yes, I shot him! Haha, and as I say, that's that. Agent Lang, Miss Pops is far from done. She hasn't even finished her testimony yet. You're going to continue questioning her. What a waste of time. Miss Pops, if you please. Alright. There was a gunshot. The other person crumpled to the ground and I ran, scared for my life. Did you take off immediately following the gunshot? Yes. And you didn't attempt to approach the victim at all after he was shot? I was scared. I don't blame you. I would have done the exact same thing. Oh, the dots. Poor Miss Pops. What will become of her, Miss Edgeworth? She seems to be telling the truth regarding what happened at the stadium. However, I don't believe it to be absolutely correct. Listen carefully to confession one more time and you'll see. Alright, let's expose her. This. Feels good, I'm on a roll today. Much better than yesterday. I probably shouldn't say anything, I may have just jinxed myself. I have here a dossier on your father. And according to this, your father was right-handed. Then the person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon. Hold on there, prosecutor. I think you need to take a refresher course. The Bad Badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the gun in was his left. Is it possible that went down like that? Agent Lang, were you paying attention to what Miss Pops was saying? Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never set foot in court to catch it. Enough with the smugness! Out with it already! Miss Pops told us earlier. There was a Bad Badger pulling the suitcase with the 1 million in it. According to you, the Bad Badger had the gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Pops? Yes, exactly. And I'm sure it was a Bad Badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face. But if that's the case, even I can see there's a huge contradiction. Yes, Miss Pops claims to have seen the Bad Badger. And yet, the Bad Badger had both of his hands full. These two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. I mean, testing and strategy says to choose all the above when possible. They are both correct. Impossible! That just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction. Miss Pops' entire statement rests on the fact that she saw his sunglasses and beard. But what if that Bad Badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half? This proves that there was a way for the Bad Badger to freely use both of his hands. Was it this? Or this? Or this? The costume had two parts to them, a head and the body. Yeah, so it was wearing the Bad Badger head, but not the Bad Badger suit. Oh, I get it now. The head Miss Pops saw was probably really the head of the Bad Badger. However, it is not possible that the body was that of an entirely different badger. A different badger? Yes, or to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of the badger. The body of the Bad Badger Miss Pops saw really was... The Blue Badger? His head may have been the Bad Badger, but his body was the Blue Badger's. The Blue Badger. Hold on, let's see here. Who was it that had one of these on? I did. And so did Officer Meekins, pal. Ha ha ha, nice try, but your logic is just a tad bit illogical. Officer Meekins have been placed under arrest after all. Wait. I'd like to strike what I just said from the mic. Couldn't get my explanation anew. So it's definitely not the pink badger because you wouldn't notice the pink. So the only one left is the proto badger. What? The heck is it? It's a proto badger. Yes, in a simple matter of process of elimination. Miss Pops was wearing the blue badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one. So I told you I shouldn't get cocky because that's what happens. And the pink badger is of the wrong color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that's left is a proto badger costume. Miss Pops, who was the one who wore the proto badger costume? That would be Lance. Ah! Whoa, his handcuffs came off. Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amano donned the bad badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon. On top of which, he plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing. Oh! Oh, you slimy little! Don't you get it? Don't you get it? He set it up. The gun had blanks. So she thinks she killed her father. But in actuality, she never killed anyone. She fired a blank. And then she ran away without noticing that she didn't kill anyone. And he did that to set her up as a killer so he wouldn't be tried as a murderer. Oh, this is devious. If it's true. On top of which, she plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing. The stage was set up in the stadium was nothing more than that, a setup. And its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing she had committed murder. Standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim. It was all done so that she would pull the trigger. Ha 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 ha. I have no idea what you're talking about. Who exactly would I have had to do all that, huh? Oh, why exactly? There is but one reason, Lance Amano. You are the real culprit behind the murder of Mr. Oliver Deacon. What? No. That's slander. Take it back. You take it back right now. Just out of curiosity, Lance, which is your dominant hand? I'm left-handed, but what does that have to do with anything? It depends. According to Miss Pops, her attacker held a gun in his left hand. Ha! Who is what-handed doesn't prove a thing. And besides, now you're just being absurd. It's not like the Porta Badger is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead, right? Of course. Logically, if he had been shot, he wouldn't be here with us. But I believe he had thought of that as well and prepared accordingly. And this should be all the evidence you need. This is how Lance made sure they wouldn't be hit by a bullet. We found one half of a bad badger costume in the hideout, a broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing, plus it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the bad badger carries, which can fire blanks. What? Miss Pops, where is the gun you use now? I threw it away into the sea. That makes it a bit tough to verify what it was. Although I believe that we can safely assume that was the model gun in question. I've heard enough. All you've been spotted so far is pure conjecture. I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I'm right is very high. Okay, let's pretend that you're right, and the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor? I don't know yet. Ha! I knew you were full of it! However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame. Please, wait a second. It's simply not possible. Because I saw Mr. Deacon after he was restrained by Lance. She saw the victim in the state of being restrained. Wow, this case just keeps going, you know? About 20 minutes ago, I said, wow, this case is really well done, really well written. Now I wonder if it's more like the Lord of the Rings endings, where it just keeps going more than it needs to. Because you already have a lot of the answers. I guess you're still missing some. But it just feels like a lot of this isn't as necessary. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But I am liking where this case is going, that's for sure. What Miss Bob saw. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape. So, Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right? We thought that it'd attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium. But then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone. Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at that time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard the plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Bob saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means that the victim was still alive at the time, wouldn't you agree? All the dots. Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. When exactly did you arrive back at the hideout? It was after we had picked up the ransom money. And where were you up until the time you returned? I was getting the park out and making preparations for our escape. I walked around in the various areas looking for the best route. Ah, so each of them had their own roles to play. After I was done, I went back to the hideout. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. How did Lance look at that time? He looked shocked. He also looked a little down. When I saw that sadness in his eyes, Thank you, and that's enough for now. And what of you, Mr. Deacon? What was this situation like? He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. You are sure that was Mr. Deacon that you saw? Yes, I'm certain of what I saw. Did you go into the other room to check? Lance said that was best if I didn't get too close to him. Lance, he's such a kind soul. Uh-huh. Then are you telling me that you did not confirm it was Mr. Deacon for yourself? I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. He had a bad badger's head on, so I'm absolutely sure. That just had to be Mr. Deacon. She saw a bad badger head. The captive had a bad badger's head on, so I'm absolutely sure it was Mr. Deacon. So, the tied up Mr. Deacon was still in his bad badger costume? Yes, and? It would appear that she misread the whole situation. What now? Should I raise an objection? Sure! The person you saw was not the victim. What? Why not? I will tell you why not with this. This Miss Pops shows us the person you saw was not the victim. Is it this? Or is it this? Because there's like 2 costumes each, right? All the dots. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It would seem that I made a mistake. But why was he tied up in his bad magic costume? If I think a little more on this, my answer should come to me. Perhaps I should listen to the testimony a little more carefully. Let's come back to that. After that, the 2 of us put on our costumes and made our escape. I assume you 2 split up, but plan to rendezvous later at a set time and place. Yes, we plan to meet up at the stage, and then I left the hideout not long after. And what about the ransom money? You mean that absolutely tasteless suitcase? Lance was supposed to bring that with him. But Oliver stole it from me, along with the gun when he escaped. If Mr. Deacon was alive in the hideout, then the murder must have happened after that. I mean, it probably all went down at the stage. I mean, I can't really see why Mr. Pops would lie at a time like this, you know? Okay, I don't think she is lying, rather, but she is making a bad assumption. She is? Yes, and I intend to show her what that bad assumption is. So, it's something to do with this here. And I gotta press her on this. And I gotta show her evidence. Not that one. Nope, not that one. What is the evidence? I mean, it's gotta be something with this, right? But what could it be? The gun? No, it's not that. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Shows us that the person you saw was not the victim. Was it because he wasn't wearing his horse chain? Not necessarily. There's only one of each badger? Nope, that's not it. Oh. You see? This is what happens when you have hubris, my friends. When you say, oh, look how well I'm doing. I'm doing so good. And next thing you know, you can't get a single answer right. This is what happens when you get overconfident. It's not the horse. I am. There we go. The most obvious thing in the world. Just the head. Miss Pops, the person you saw was not Mr. Deacon at all. Huh? The person you actually saw was this person. Well, it's kind of obvious which one it is. The person you saw tied up to the beam was none other than Lance. But Lance was, oh, it's K! It's K! Oh, I'm an idiot! Oh! Oh, it's so obvious which one it is. Yeah. FlightlessBird. This is why, come on. If you only would have thought about that for 5 seconds, you would have realized how dumb it was. But Lance was the one who showed me the tied up person in the next room. You're claiming that the boy somehow showed himself tied up to the beam. Are you serious? Or perhaps you believe there was a rip in the space-time continuum? I'm so dumb. Aha, I see. Now I know who it was. K. Miss Pops, the person you saw tied up to the beam was in fact K. No, it was me! It was me! Oh, I'm such an idiot! Oh my god! I need a... Oh man, I am so dumb. We were the one tied up to the beam. Gosh darn it! Hey, hold on. I was never tied up like that. Right, I suppose not. I think your half-baked logic sees some more time in the oven, Mr. Prosecutor. You guys, what are you waiting for? In a great invitation? Take this young lady away. Wait, we still don't know the truth behind what has happened. It's alright. I need to pay the price for what I've done. Oh, I'm so dumb! Gosh darn it! I am kicking myself. Like, kicking myself for this, because this is so... That was so obvious, and I just totally blew it. And now I have to, now I have to press her. I think it's here. And then she says he saw the costume. And then I press here. And now I raise an objection. And we go Blue Badger. Or Bad Badger. Miles! It was me. Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth? Can you imagine Edgeworth with a Bad Badger head on? Oh dear God, that would be amazing. I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even after I had handed over the ransom? Huh? It's not as though I saw the face of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at the time. Well, Lance, am I right? That's... You showed Miss Pops a person, namely me, with the Bad Badger's head on. And then you made your costume escape together, or so you pretended. Huh? What do you mean he pretended? Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape and then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the Bad Badger head from my unconscious self. And to create his fake prison with the prop sword, he then escaped via the passageway. Hold your tongue, boy. Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Miss Prosecutor's mouth. Tidal wave? We've heard a lot come out of you, but I've yet to see a shred of evidence. The victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment. All of that could have happened while you were out cool. That's right, you were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. Even if that were the case, Miss Pops would have still seen me tied to that beam. I was scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the next room. So I really have no idea if you were in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, it would seem that you can't prove a thing. Who said that? Please wait. Mr. Amano. Ho ho ho, Miles, my boy. It looks like you're really giving it to your O. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others. Dad. Let's see, you are the one in charge of the investigation, correct? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry that my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you. Oh, do you now? Is that what I think it is? It's the bad magic costume the victim was wearing, and a gun. I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea. Arg, is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law? There. No. Agent Lang, please calm down. What the heck is that scrap of paper? This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says. What? The Chief of Police? What the? Just who does he think he is? The person who wields the highest authority in this area. Ho ho ho, there, now. There is no need to be so upset. Here, I'm not a cop from this land, so I'm not bound by the laws of your country. No. This wasn't meant to strong-arm you into anything, it's just a request. I'm only asking that you please respect the laws of this land. Arg, I can't really say no to that. However, returning to the topic at hand. It doesn't matter who found the evidence, its value remains unchanged. Alright now, let's take a look at the new evidence. I've already got the results back. I had a special forensics research lab that I'm on good terms with conduct the test. They verified that the blood on this costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, the only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren. What? You disappointed me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such distress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final piece of evidence. With this, you'll have no reason left to push my poor boy around. That's it? These are the case-making pieces of evidence? Ha! I'll be the judge of that. Alright. Nothing usual about that. This bullet hole. It looks like kind of burnt around the edges. Wait, those burn marks were left by gunpowder. This is a most important fact. Why is that? Because it is proof that the victim was shot at point-blank range. Victim's costume updated. Could this gun be the actual murder weapon? Revolver jotted down. Is that glass? What's this? It looks like there's something inside the costume head. Hey, the sparkle, I bet they're really valuable. Sorry, but they're just pieces of mirror. But why are they in here? Well, are these not the most decisive piece of evidence you've ever seen? Thank you, Dad. This should be enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. I'm not entirely convinced. Now, on one hand, what I'm about to say may sound really horrible, but here's the thing. I have not played this game before. I have no idea how long this case is going to last. This case may last another half hour for all I know. And I'm going on plus 50 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And we'll probably finish the case in the next video. I am sorry if we're like one piece of evidence away from the end. I do apologize for that, but I'm unsure. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been sniffling in the background. Hopefully my mic didn't catch all of it. Feeling a little bit stuffy today. So I need a break. Yeah, that's the one thing about playing visual novels is reading voices does take a lot. But anyway, I love you all very much. Thank you so much, my friends. Again, I can't say enough about how much I appreciate you all. You guys are simply the greatest. You mean so much to me. You matter. I want you to know that you matter. And until next time, on a blind Let's Play, it's Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth on the FlightlessBird. It's your story-based gaming channel. So long, and take care. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to comment on what you saw and what you'd like to see next. I always love to hear your thoughts. But before we go, please remember that you matter, and you are brilliant, and you are loved, and you should always be true to yourself. Never let the world tell you any different. Much love to you from your friendly, feathered, flightless bird.